Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 Fall Virtual Fabric Show. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Stephanie Sheridan, and I will be your host today. A few things before we get started. Please keep in mind that the collections that you're seeing here today are from summer and fall of this year. Those are the release dates, but these fabrics won't be available in shops until sometime next year. For most of them, I think a few of them are stores now, and one is coming later this year, but most of these won't be available until next year. So keep that in mind. Also, if you have a question during the show, please type it in the Q&A box that you see at the bottom of your screen. That's where we'll pull all the questions at the end of the panelist discussion to ask them. So if you have a question, please type it in the Q&A area. Be sure to visit our website, benartex.com, to see more of these fabrics and all of our other collections as well. We're presenting over 20 collections throughout the 3 sessions today, but there are many, many more available to view on our website. And lastly, if you see something that you feel like you just can't live without, please be sure to go to your local quilt shop and ask them to order it from either their Benartex sales rep, online on our website, or through their favorite distributor, and carry the Benartex fabric collection that you love the most, or all of them, in your local quilt shop. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started on this session of our virtual fabric show. We're going to start with Amanda Murphy sharing her latest fabric lines. Vibrancy is graphic and bold, while Flora and Fauna celebrates the beauty of nature. Very different collections that demonstrate Amanda's artistic talent and versatility. First, we're going to share the fabric collections in a quick little video clip, and then we'll watch Amanda's PowerPoint and we can see all about them. Okay, Amanda.
Okay, I haven't seen that before, so it's always fun to see new things. So you guys saw a peek of one of the collections and then another collection I'm going to show you. And so the first collection, can you guys see my screen, Stephanie?
Yes.
Are we good? Okay.
Yep, I can see the screen.
Good. The first collection's Vibrancy. It's available in, it's shipping at the end of this year, December. So it's December, January ship date, and it follows a collection that I did in black and white called Botanica. And this was really the kind of a response to Botanica. I wanted one collection black and white and another collection Vibrance, hence the Vibrancy name. So in this collection, you can see there's blenders, there's feature prints. I'm just going to show you first these panels. So if you move from left to right, the two panels on the left and the center are continuous. So what that means is there's no division between the panels on the fabric. And this was developed basically for teaching purposes, to teach ruler work, which I normally teach quite a bit, or to teach how to place a quilting motif on either a long arm or a domestic embroidery machine. But you can cut it up and make bags or piece it in with the rest of the collection. So that's what it is. And actually, you can't see this here, but the texture in the squares and the rectangles is my Cotton Shot Basics line. It is Cotton Shot. And then the panel on the right is a ruler panel that goes with my Every Petal Set One ruler templates by Brewer. And so those two products coordinate, and there's a guide, which I'm not yet finished writing, but I better be finished because the ship's in December. So I'm really excited about the panels. So there's the panels. And now I'm just going to show you the quilts that go with the collection. Twirl is the quilt that's gotten the most attention. It was shown at Bernina University to dealers this summer, but now it's kind of out in force. And this is a foundation piece pattern where the seams don't have to lock. So that's really nice. It's actually way simpler than it looks. And you can see the color version on the right there, the black and white version, which went with Botanica's on the left. And what really makes this quilt is the quilting. So show you a picture of this. Now this is the other color version because this is the black and white version because the color version is sitting on my frame. I was about 45 minutes from getting it done to hang behind me. So but I didn't make it. So I have another quilt behind me here, but you can see the quilting here in this picture really well. And then this is Icicles. It was hanging up next to Twirl in the black and white, but you can see it in color here. It's a French braid quilt. And then I have a 10-inch square quilt called Double Cross. So it was interesting to use the dark feature print in the left version of this quilt, almost in the way I use the black in the other version of it. This was tartan. So oftentimes when I have something that's very floral or has some element of femininity to it, I like to contrast it with really straight lines. And so this is a plaid quilt, and you'll see that in my other collection too coming up because I shared the quilts. And then I did two fat quarter patterns. So this one's fat quarter fracture. And basically what you do is you take fat quarters and you cut strips and you make two different strip sets, one with one fabric on the outside and because there's 7 strips in each set, and then the other with the other fabrics on the outside, you cut them down to squares, you sew a diagonal line, and that generates 2 blocks. So that's how this one's made. And this was really fun to piece, and I love it in color. Actually, the color was my favorite in this quilt. So that's fat quarter fracture. And then we have fat quarter flow. So often do a quilt you can do in a day, but this is a quilt you can do in a day. So this one's really fun. So the idea is you take 25 fat quarters, or if you want to make more blocks, you basically need 5 more fat quarters than you have blocks in the quilt. And you stack them either from light to dark or from cool to warm, and you cut them into these 6 pieces. You take 1 off the first stack, 2 off the second, 3 off the third. The pattern tells you how to do it. And then you piece what's left on top together to make the first block, the second block, the third block. And basically, when you lay out the quilt, you lay it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like the blocks are laid so that that hue actually goes across the quilt, whether you do it in terms of hue or value. It's really, really simple. So I'm really excited about that one. Here you can see the panels with the embroidery. And that's a quilting collection that I'm doing. And it's designed to use with, of course, the panels, but with other things as well. And remember how I said there was the one panel for the rulers. So the first, the rulers in the upper left here are the go with this panel. So that's vibrancy. Now, the next collection I'm going to show you, Stephanie, I'm going to lean on you here. Is it May or June ship date for Flora and Fauna?
Maria Elena can pull that up for us
Maria's
and put it in the chat.
Okay, so
I don't have that information in front of me, but Maria Elena will pull that information up.
It's either May or June. I know it's one of those two. So Flora and Fauna was my take on kind of a collection like a forest. And you guys who follow me know I hate orange, and look at the orange behind me, right? Sometimes you just have to use orange with those blue colors to get them to pop. So with Flora and Fauna, there's two different color stories. So one is the orange and like pops of orange, but mostly blue. And along with this collection, we actually added some colors of my Cotton Shop basic line. So we have new Cotton Shop colors coming, and that's to support this collection, but also to provide a wider range of colors. So you can see I filled out the purples. I added some lighter tone aquas and that green I use in a lot of my collection. But then also we added some gingerbread tones and some Christmas reds and greens. And that was at the request of OESD, who uses my Cotton Shop line a lot with their embroidery designs. So we have new Cotton Shops coming. Back though, Flora and Fauna, this is just so you can get a feel for the line. This is the feature print in line in the blue color. And so I wanted it to be almost like William Morrissey, but not. I wanted it to be very tightly filled. My favorite part in this is the porcupine. His name is Porky. So he's up in, I don't know if you can see my mouse here, but he's up kind of at the top center. And then there's also a really pretty medallion print that I really like from this collection. So I was going to highlight that. And then it comes also in greens and pinks. So this is the green color story with the pinks. So that's Flora and Fauna, and I thought I'd show you just real quick the quilts for it. So there's a sampler quilt called Moonlit Forest. This is the one I better piece really fast. I have it all cut out. I have to piece it for market, and there's a lot to do here. So this is the one I'm going to piece next. And then the quilt you see behind me is called Flora. I actually stole it from an older collection, but I made some changes to it. I put in an inner border. I'm really excited about quilting this one because of the negative space. I'm going to put feathers in there, and I think that'll be really fun. And then I reused tartan because I think it's interesting how totally different this quilt looks in these colors. I don't know if I'm going to get this done for market. I hope I will, but I don't know. That's going to be a big ask, but I will eventually do it. And then I have these little table toppers called Arbor Walk. Some of you know when I do applique patterns, I put in, and I forgot to put SVG in the name. It should be AMD 146 SVG for shops who are ordering patterns, but I always put SVG files in with my applique file so you can cut out the shapes on a digital fabric cutter if you want to. So this is like the little table topper. I don't know how I really want to get all of these done for market, but again, market's like a week and a half away. Wait a second. Yeah, it's like a week and 2 days away. So we'll see what I get done. But anyway, that's Flora and Fauna. So I think that's it. I'm going to stop sharing so you can take the screen back.
Thanks, Amanda. Looks like you're going to have a very busy few days up leading to market to get this quilt done.
But I'll try, right?
That's all we can do, right?
Right.
So now we'll move on to our next panelist. She is one of our brand new designers, Kimberly Einmo, with her Rouville collection. These fabrics and amazing quilts were inspired by her time spent in the remote Australian outback. Please enjoy this short video showing the collection, and then Kimberly can tell us more about it.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. It is such an honor to be in amongst all these amazing designers. I have a special guest here in the studio. Cheeto wanted to pop in and say hi to everyone. So he's been hanging around waiting for his debut, and he wants you to know that he made friends with all the kangaroos out in the outback. So anyway, I'm ready to share my screen here and see. I've got a little presentation that I can pop up here. Let's see if this works. And we want this one. There we go. All right, from beginning. There we go. Are you seeing that, Stephanie?
Perfect. You've got it.
Okay.
Yep, I can see everything. Go ahead.
Great. So this is Rouville. And I just thought I'd pop in and give you a little background. I'm a military wife. My husband's retired Air Force, and we have traveled the world, and most recently spent, he was there for almost 2 years. I was there for a year in the very remote Australian outback. And it was quite an adventure. And so I thought I'd share a few things with you. I thought I'd start with just a few fun facts about how big Australia is, how remote it was where we lived in Alice Springs. I have superimposed the United States over Australia to show you just how big the landmass is, and to give you an idea of distances. That just to give you like to go to Sydney or to Brisbane, it was over a day to drive it. We never drove it. We only flew, and there's only a few flights a week to these cities. So it is very, very remote. That's like from LA to St. Louis with nothing in between. And when I say nothing, just the kangaroos and all the spiders and snakes that want to kill you. So it was very remote. And just, I had no idea that there was 26 million people that live in all of Australia. To give you some context, there's 40 million people living in California. There are 60 million kangaroos in Australia. And here's something that I bet most people don't know. There are 1 million wild camels in the outback. So camels were introduced to Australia a couple hundred years ago. Some got loose. They live out there, and it's pretty incredible. I did see some wild camels. So that's your little history lesson to give you some context of where we were. We were very remote. And these are our backyard visitors. The thing that kept me going while we were in Australia every day were these lovely roos. It was like living in a National Geographic documentary. And I felt like, who is that gal who lived with the gorillas? Well, I lived with the kangaroos, and we never tried to tame them or pet them, but we did put out root food and water every day, because water is so hard to come by. And we did get the big reds, the ones that are super huge, but mostly we got the mamas and the joeys, and they were so fun. And here you can see from our back door, they would come up to the back door and make friends with our kitties. So I just fell in love with the roos. We fed them root food, which is like rabbit pellets. And this was really the inspiration for my whole fabric line. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of share that. We did not have koalas in the outback because there's not enough eucalyptus trees out there, and they live for eucalyptus trees, but we did get to see them when we traveled to Brisbane and Sydney and even Adelaide. The other thing that was amazing about living in the outback were the birds, the amazing colorful parrots and cockatoos and all these extraordinary birds that you either see people own here as pets, or you might see them in zoos, but they just fly wild in the outback. So I took all of these, and also the sunsets. And we got to experience some glorious sunsets living out there. These are unfiltered, taken from my balcony on our house. And I had heard about the purple skies, and I didn't understand about the purple skies out there. It's for two reasons. One, in the outback, there's no pollution. And so it's very clear, but there's a lot of red dirt. And when the dust stirs up the red dirt and puts it into the atmosphere, you get amazing purple skies. So you can see that we had a lot of color around us, and it was very beautiful. And I parlayed this into the idea for the colors I would use in these fabrics. And this is Rouville. And I'm happy to tell you that it is hitting store shelves right now. It is available. And these are the 3 main prints for my line. There's a total of 26 prints in this line. These are the main prints, and you'll see those parrots and the koalas and the kangaroos. And I wanted it to have a nod to the First Nation people that live there, but not in any way take over their beautiful Aboriginal prints. But I wanted bright, bold colors. I wanted it to be whimsical and attractive and eye-catching. And so these are the 3 prints. Also, there's a secondary main print. These are feathers in 2 colorways, and one is navy and one is, I believe that's teal. Stephanie, correct me. I can't remember what the colorway is on the second one, but one is navy. And I just love the colorful feathers because of all the amazing birds that you would see around Australia. There was always feathers on the ground. So, and taking that a little further, we took all the color out of that same print and did this lined feathers. So it's that same print, just done in a lined version in 5 colorways. And I find that these are nice blenders or backgrounds. Even though there's a lot going on in these, it's still a good supporting cast member to your quilts. And I use these are kind of my go-tos. I love these prints. And then we have little feathers, because I think when making quilts, you not only need color, but you need scale. Scale is very important. So we have a large scale print and we have some medium prints. This is the small scale print in the group, and little feathers comes in black, pistachio, and white. And these are a lot of fun, and they really go very well with the other prints. So these are also good supporting cast members. And then there are blooms. Again, I really, really love tone on tones. This is more than a tone on tone, but I look at the colors. They're just glorious, saturated, rich colors that are not only beautiful for use with Rouville, but I think these would go so well with so many other prints that you might already have in your stash, or some of these beautiful fabrics from some of the other designers. I think these could just cross over and do double duty, not only along with this line, but so many others. So I love this. This is, we've got turquoise, carrot, and we've got magenta and royal. So these are just really, really pretty prints. And then here we go. These are palm fronds. And these come in 3 colorways. And again, this is more of your medium print. Again, I'm working with the scale because there were a lot of palm fronds out in the outback, at least in some areas where there was a little water, you'd find some big leaves. And so I thought it would be really fun to incorporate that too. And here is Outback Rue, which is the Rouville print done as with just a line, a tone on tone. And I find that these are also go-tos. I've used that white one over and over and over and over again in so many different quilts. And if you want an even more subtle texture, you can turn it over and use the wrong side of this fabric, and it gives you an even more subtle texture to your quilt. So I've done that in several quilts. But now it's time to show you the quilts that I've designed to go with these prints. One of my free patterns is called Rue Shoe, which is just the shoe fly block, but set with some really pretty sashing and cornerstones. And the reason I chose the shoe fly block is because in the outback, you may not know this, but during their summer months, which is our winter, they have biblical plague flies. So many flies, you have to wear the nets over your head. And so they don't bite, but they're really annoying, and you have to kind of like wipe them off. Not a real fun thing, but like I said, they don't bite, but I thought it would be fun to call it Rue Shoe. So this is a free pattern that I have, and you can also find through Benartex. And then there's Rue. And this is a fun one using a fun large applique, and the quilt is 31 by 43. And because the response to this quilt was so big, I came up with Rue 2. So another, you can hang them as a series. They're really easy to do. These are great for fat quarters or fat eighths. They're just a lot of fun to make, and they're really fast, and they're easy to quilt yourself. So that's Rue 2. And then we have, oh, and this one's behind me. This one's called Rue Links. It's another free pattern that I did using log cabin block, but featuring some of those prints, and you can swap out the prints to get a completely different look. But this one's a real fun one to make, goes together fast and easy. I think you'll enjoy it. And again, that's a free pattern. And then there's Rue Tracks, which is a large quilt. This is 90 by 90. It's more for your intermediate quilters. It's not hard to do. It's just, there's a little more going on, and I break it down in the pattern to make it really simple. But this would be a good sew along in your shop for maybe a couple of weeks. So if you're thinking about carrying it, this uses all the prints. So you can actually use all the prints in this quilt. So I just wanted to thank you so much. How do I stop the share here? Okay, there we go. I wanted to thank you, and I hope you'll be as excited about Rouville as I was creating it. And I've had so much fun. I've kind of made some little bundles. These fabrics will be available in 5-inch squares, and you said strippies, and also fat quarter boxes.
Yes.
So they're just really beautiful, fun, and I hope you will enjoy creating quilts with Rouville.
Thank you, Kimberly. So now we'll move on. And one of designer Pat Sloan's favorite places are parks. She loves the sense of community in them, much like the amazing online community she has built. Her new Paradise Park collection brings flowers, fun, and summertime all in one cool vibe. Let's hear from her about these fabrics and the projects as well.
I believe it's time to go to the park and have a little fun. I'm Pat Sloan, and it is Paradise Park time. Paradise Park is my next line with Benartex, which will come out in the spring of 2024, and we get to have a sneak peek now. This is when the shops are ordering it, and so let's take a look. Oh, so excited. So each of the prints, there's 4 different prints, and they have a name to make it more fun. So the Paradise Park would have a gazebo in the park, and red, everything red. It is a beautiful red and white version of these great, big, gorgeous daisies. So they're in scale, like larger, medium, small, and these are my early cuts. Just a sneak peek. This is kind of how it comes so that we can test everything out to see how it's looking. So here's a red with navy background. This is so cool. I love how this turned out with those two colors. Now, blue and white, very classic, very crisp, very summery. It's just perfect for all kinds of projects, and you'll see it showcased in the future here on some of the patterns. Then a white on white. Now, white on white, they're interesting because I find that if I put just one layer down on top of the others, you can actually see it. There you go. See it? This is a great fabric for background in your patchwork or your applique. Oh, now the next print I called Park Bench, because you do absolutely have to have a park bench. And this is a sort of a larger medium scale print, medium for the line. And I love the big paisleys. So they're good size, and I believe these would be excellent placemats. Red, white, and blue. Look at this. Look, wait, there we go. Look at this. I could just see all kinds of things with this. Pinks, lots of pinks. And I want to show you the edge, the selvage on this. I believe I'll go to the park and have a little fun. So there, look at the little park bench. So they've got the little saying, this is great for those of you doing selvage quilts. And the park bench in blue and white. And it's got this beautiful light blue background. You know, that summer blue that I love so much. The third print is called Playground, because every wonderful park has a playground. And this is a medium scale, but on a little bit smaller size, with beautiful little flowers in here and dots. Look at the polka dots. Pink. And here's a white with a very light gray outline for the flowers. And then that blue, okay, what do we got? Always got a thread somewhere, right? We're quilters, there's always a thread somewhere. There's a light blue and white with, there's 5 prints of this. So there's white with blue and then white with pink. And the dots, look at the dots, you can really see them. And the last one is Friends. It's called Friends, this print, because it is the tiny little companion, which is the friend of all quilters and every park you should go to with your friends. So that kind of, I felt like that really summed it up. So I have got 6 colors of this one. That navy and red looks so good. And then here's navy with blue with navy. So navy in the background of the vine. So there you can see the vine up close. And this is such a great basic that goes with so many things. Navy, darker blue with the dark navy, blue and white, classic, right? Pinky red, so it's like pink on top of red, and then red and white, the piece de resistance, your red and white. So there you go, a little peek. So there you get to see each fabric in the line. And wait, before I go, this one is done with Promise Me, that's hanging behind me, because of course I only have this little bit of fabric to work with right now, so there's no quilts made up. But I wanted to show you something, one of my prior lines called Promise Me, and this is from the pattern called Among the Stars. And so now I'm going to show you these fabrics all put into quilts in layouts, and so you can see how they look put together. There are just some stunning designs. Let's go. Every day in Paradise Park is a banner day. So this wonderful quilt by Virginia Cole is our free pattern for Paradise Park. I just love it. And of course, our park has to have a gazebo that we can hang our banners from. Wendy Shepard has designed several patterns that are just showcasing the fabric line so nicely. Wendy's Candy Logs, these strips are just so cool. It's alternating with a white and the prints, and they just look awesome popping against the navy. Now, sparklers, of course, we've got a park, a Paradise Park, and the sparklers are a must for the evenings in the summer. And I love the star with the alternating and how it kind of, with you use the different fabrics, you can see how some blend away and you just see like the points, and other ones, the centers are stronger. It is just so cool to mix and match the fabrics like that. And Wendy's Hear Ye is my favorite. Oh my goodness, the Liberty Bell done in Paradise Park. I just love it. Okay, I'm going to make it. I'm definitely going to make this one. I don't know, Wendy, if I'm going to make all those stars around the border, but I'm definitely going to make the bell and some stars on the border, some. Oh my goodness, it is so cool. Okay, I went on and on. Let's see what else we have. Apple cobbler, nice and fresh. That on point setting for the checkerboard with it sort of bursting out like that is just so cool. It comes in 3 sizes, the crib, the lap, and the queen, which is really a great value. I also adore Bandwagon. It is in 4 different sizes, crib, lap, tween, and queen from So Emma. And this is a perfect place to showcase the large scale daisy fabric. Look at that in the alternating. And then the stars kind of have a chain effect. Very cool. And the last one from So Emma comes in 2 sizes, a lap and a twin, called Evergreen. And this one I'm going to be hosting a sew along for. The alternating star and the sort of box, it's like a mystery box to me. It's kind of intertwined. I just love how that block really looks complicated, and it's not. Now, By Annie always has the most amazing bags, and she has done colors for us with the Paradise Park. And the Catch-All Caddy 2 is perfect for all of your projects and you take to your sew-alongs and your retreats. The clamshell is just one of those staples that everybody needs. You put all your little notions in there. Plus, it is a great gift giving project done in Paradise Park. You can pick the color that works best for the person you're giving it to. And we have the switchback bag. That is what you need for going on your hikes in the park, right? And then you're going to stop and have a picnic. I love it. It's really fun to mix and match the different fabrics with it. So there we go. This is Paradise Park, which will be coming to your shops in the spring. And please join me out on YouTube at Pat Sloan, where I do videos Monday through Friday, where I just talk about quilting. If you are a hardcore quilter, if you're in the quilt core, come and visit. Plus, my Facebook community has tons of inspiration day and night.
All right, thank you so much, Pat. So we're going to keep moving right along. And welcome designer Christa Watson with her Dazzle Dots. The colors seem to sizzle and glow, and they're even light and dark grays for contrast. I can see them right behind Christa now. So we're going to show a quick video of the fabric collection, and then I'll turn it over to Christa to tell you all about them. Christa, tell us all about Dazzle Dots, please.
All righty, let's see. Okay, can you see that, Stephanie? Okay, great. All right, so I am super excited about Dazzle Dots. This is actually my 9th collection with Benartex. I'm like, where's the time gone? And what I realized is I love to design bold, bright, colorful fabrics and make kind of a little bit of a modern quilt, but I needed some blenders to go with my other fabric collections. So Dazzle Dots answers that question right there, and it's just so perfect. And my little company is Christa Quilts. I'm fun and whimsical, and I like to be your cheerleader in all things quilting. So with Dazzle Dots, there's 22 fabrics. There's 20 saturated colors in the rainbow, every color in the rainbow. And then the 2 background fabrics, the light gray and the dark gray, which I really love to blend together. There are 11 are the dots and 11 are the squares. So it really makes a nice combination. So I love a good rainbow. And so I put these were some of the sample fabrics that I got, and I created a nice little bundle, and they do come in all the pre-cuts, including the fat quarter bundles of all 22 prints. And it was just fun to just lay them out in rainbow order. And that just makes me happy whenever I see it. Also, an idea that I came up with is you can take the 22 prints and you can separate them into colorways. So when you get the pre-cuts, it'll be all of them together. But for those of you that are shop owners out there, if you want to buy the fat quarter bundles or you want to make your own bundles, you can divide them up into 11 of the citrus hues with the dark gray. And you can divide them up into 11 jewel tones with the light gray. Now, I put a call out to social media, and I was just curious when I started sharing this, and I asked people, which colorway do you like best? Do you like the citrus or do you like the jewel? And I was very surprised that it was 50-50. Like, people really liked both of them. And so again, they look great all together. They look great divided by colorways, however you want to do them. Now, I mentioned they come in the pre-cuts, and the way that I make sure that I do the pre-cuts, they're all the standard sizes, the 5x5s, the 10x10s, the strippies, and then the 22 fat quarter bundles. I make sure that when I'm picking how many, it's either going to be 1 or 2 of each print, I make sure that there's enough to go with the patterns that I'm going to make that are pre-cut friendly. So you'll see that in a moment. So talking about the patterns, first one, I have a free one for you. So whether you are a shop owner who's going to carry this in your shop, or whether you are a consumer, you can download this free pattern now as we speak. Just go to my site, christaquilts.com/streamers, and you can select whether you are a shop or a consumer. I will email that to you automatically, and you can anticipate this. It is made from either 5-inch squares or 10-inch squares. My free patterns come in one size, and then my paid patterns usually come in multiple sizes. But this one, as you can see, I love playing around with different backgrounds. So the sample that I actually made that I'm going to be sharing at Quilt Market for those of you attending in Houston next week, I will also be teaching at Festival as well. So I'll have the quilts for both. I made it with a pink background, but as you can see, you can swap out that background. You can use the turquoise, you can use the navy, you can use the dark gray, the light gray, you could use the red, any of the fabrics. And again, because of how I made sure the pre-cuts work, you can take out the fabric you're using for background, you just take that one out and you don't use that 5-inch square in the pattern, and you could use the same fabric for background, so you have enough. So anyway, my free pattern, go there, you can download it now, and you can anticipate that one. Here is a detail of the machine quilting. I do all of my own stunts. I make all of my own quilts. I quilt all of my own on a regular domestic machine, and I've started sharing a series of videos showing how to machine quilt it. So all of my patterns, you can go and get the pattern, and then you can watch the video for ideas on how to quilt it. This one was simple wavy lines, and there will be a YouTube video coming soon. I just wrapped up a series of videos showing how I machine quilted all of the quilts in my previous line called Stitchy. Those are on my YouTube channel now, and now the next series is going to come. So if you go to YouTube, Christa Quilts, they're normally maybe about anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes long, and it really helps you understand how to quilt it. My next pattern, I'm actually working on this one right now as we speak, and this is going to be one of the featured patterns in the next issue of Fat Quarterly in the winter edition. So if you have not signed up, go sign up now, go get your subscription, and it actually includes 20 to 22 5-inch squares in every issue with patterns on what to make with them. So for this one, it's going to use 20 of the saturated prints, and then you would purchase an additional 3/4 yard of light gray and 3/4 yard of dark gray. So you could use the Dazzle Dots, you could use something in your stash. It's a little wall hanging. It's not very big. It's about 20 by 30, but it's really adorable. It's really fun. And I have to finish that quilt this week and get it shipped off for photography so it can be in the winter edition of Fat Quarterly. I think you guys are going to love that one. The next pattern is actually one of my top sellers. This is called Terrace Tiles. And for those of you, I know some of the shops have stocked this. I made it in my Stitchy fabric. I made it in my Gridwork collection. I have re-released this pattern 3 times, and I have made the quilt 6 times. And on the front cover, I am showing the versions with dazzle dots. On the back cover, which you don't see here, it shows the other 4 versions I've made. And when I re-released the pattern this time around for the 3rd time, I went from showing it in 3 sizes to now 6 sizes, from baby to queen. This is my top seller. It's the easiest quilt pattern you can make. It's the easiest one I design, and it's just made completely from fat quarters, including the binding, because I like to use up all the fabric. And again, this is where I separated those fat quarters into bundles. 11 of the citrus or 11 of the jewel will make either one of those quilts. And of course, you can make both of them if you want to. For shops out there, you can just send me an email to purchase the pattern. You can order them now. And then for consumers out there, ask your local quilt shops to stock them, and you can purchase them there. Again, fat quarter friendly, super fun and easy to make. And this is the machine quilting close-ups. Again, I've shot a video. I will be editing it, probably releasing it sometime after Quilt Market. And it shows the 2 colorways and 2 different machine quilting ideas. One is an edge-to-edge free motion design, and the other one is a walking foot design, because I love teaching both, and I love showing how quilting looks on the different quilts. So watch my YouTube channel for those videos. Again, you buy the pattern and then you can watch the videos for free. The nice thing about my videos, you could take these things that you learn and you could really apply them to any quilt. You know, I like to empower people to have fun with that part of it. All right, the next one is called Ticker Tape, and this one is what I call my modern strippy quilt. So this is going to require 1 strip roll of dazzle dots, and again, it's one of those quilts you can pair up with any background. So I have paired it up on the cover with the teal background, and again, it comes in 4 sizes. So depending on the size, this one I believe is either the throw or double, I can't remember, but one of the sizes uses all of the strips, and then the smaller sizes use fewer strips, and then the larger size actually uses all the strips, but then you can add borders to make it larger. So I really want you guys to be able to customize it. For shops out there, I want you to be able to kit it up and really have a good time with it. And just like some of my other ones, this is what it would look like if you use the light gray background or the dark gray background. And I actually made a smaller version of it using the navy background. And again, you can see the detail of that quilting. I shot the video while I did the detail of this quilting, but I think I'm going to remake the quilt in their turquoise and also do a video with different quilting. So that one might be a little bit, I'll probably put that at the end of the stack when I start sharing those videos. But my thought is I'm sitting at my machine, I'm machine quilting. I just hook up a little camera next to me and I get some footage while I'm quilting. And so you can see how I actually break down that process. Again, this is a wholesale pattern that's available now. So shops can contact me, and then consumers can have access to that as well. You can, consumers can recommend my fabrics, my patterns. They can ask for them at local quilt shops. And last, or not last, a couple more to go, Swanky Spirals. This is actually the quilt that's behind me that you see behind me now. And the fun story of this quilt is I actually designed it several years ago, and it was in a magazine that is no longer in business. And for years and years, I have been trying to re-release this on its own, but it just kind of gets shoved to the end of the list and I never get to it. Finally, I decided I am going to get to this quilt now because it's perfect for dazzle dots. It's my version of what I call structured improv piecing. It's improv in that every single block is different, but it's structured in that you trim them all down to the same size. So it kind of corrals the chaos. So as you can see, I have it in progress right behind me. And then the leftovers, I sewed them together into these little fun bands of color that I'm going to piece into the backing. Little behind the scenes here. A lot of us designers, we get fabric maybe a couple of weeks before Quilt Market. So it's a mad dash to finish everything up so that we can display it. But with the wonderful advent of the internet, we can share our process as we go, and we can share the the finished quilts also. So this pattern comes in 4 sizes, wall through queen. Again, fewer blocks I think would make a cute pillow. You can do borders, not do borders. You can have different background options. So again, you can have fun and you can customize it, but it's pretty much just fat quarters and background. You can use the dark gray background. You could use the light gray background. And what I did, you may not be able to see this, is I used the dark gray dots or the dark gray square dots for the background. And then I threw in a couple of the other grays in background. So it almost looks like a mistake, but not really, because I did it on purpose. And of course, I'll be having a video to show. This close-up, I made the smaller version of it, and I quilted it with that fun all over design that I call jagged stipple. It's kind of what happens when you're trying to quilt stipple and you get angles instead of curves, but it's a fun design. And then I'm going to be quilting the one behind me and also recording a video as that as well. This one is called Party Time. This is the next one that's also a paid pattern. And what I wanted to do with this one is I really wanted to take some of the Dazzle Dots fabrics and put them into different colorways. It doesn't use all the fabrics, but I came up with a teal colorway and a purple colorway because I want people to be able to just pick and choose a few pieces if they want to. This one comes in 4 sizes. The cover shows the wall size and the throw size. And then on the right-hand side of your screen, I've actually made it in the crib size and the lap size. I did have enough fabrics. I was able to make those earlier this year, but those are, that's all I had room to make. And the fun thing about this one, this is actually foundation paper piece. Did I say that right? Foundation paper piece. And the cool thing about it is that I will be shooting a video that shows you how to foundation paper piece one block. You need the pattern, or you need the foundation template in the pattern, and then you just photocopy as many of that pattern as you need to make the blocks. For shops, this is a fabulous pattern to get people into foundation paper piecing because it looks super complicated, but it's really not. And the pattern all fits on one 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper so that you don't have to tape anything together. So it's really, really good for consumers. They can see my video that's going to come to actually see the steps. But again, 4 sizes, 2 colorways, lots and lots of fun. This pattern is available now, wholesale and retail. And here is a close-up again of the quilting. A lot of my fabrics are very busy, so you don't really see the quilting. So I just love to quilt them with an all-over design and a fun thread that gives lots of texture. In the teal version, I quilted them with a design called square spirals. And in the purple version, I quilted a round spiral. So again, once I release that video, you'll be able to try out both of those designs. Super, super fun. All right, this one I'm really excited about, color weave. I have not made this quilt yet, but there's something really special. This was a pattern that I released back when I did my 3rd fabric collection called Abstract Garden, and it has been a hot seller ever since. I have made it a couple times in other fabrics, and I'm definitely going to be remaking it in Dazzle Dots in January. Now, what's really cool about this one is it's made entirely from 2.5-inch strips. And so, of course, you can get 1 strip roll of Dazzle Dots, but I spoke with Benartex, and I literally just got the approval for this about a week ago. They are going to create a limited edition strip roll of all strips of dark and all strips of light. So you can make this quilt and this pattern with 3 strip rolls, the Dazzle Dots, the light gray, and the dark gray. And of course, you can you'll be able to stock up on the light and the dark gray rolls to combine with other fabrics. So those are not going to be available till January. So at that time, once I get them in, then I will go ahead and make the quilt and share videos and things like that. But I hope you guys are really excited. This was my little kind of proof of concept when I decided, which colors I wanted to use. I pulled all the fat quarters, I put them in rainbow order. And then the one other little tip when you're making the color weave, if you decide to make it from other fabrics, is you need 2 strips of each colorway to make each strip, but I've seen people do it scrappy. So again, when I designed the strip roll set, I wanted to make sure that the rainbow colors that are in the quilt are going to be included in the strip bundles. So I think that's my last slide that I have for you guys. But again, I just hope you are going to enjoy this as much as me. And I will just, as soon as we're done, I'm going to finish that quilt behind me.
Great, Christa. Thank you so much. So finally, this session, we have designer Ann Lauer from Grizzly Gulch Gallery. Ann's signature style shines through in her new Luminescent Leaves collection. With 2 complete colorways and a new series of tonals, these fabrics will absolutely delight you. So we'll start with a video, and then Ann can tell us about the collections. and we'll go ahead and we'll get your PowerPoint started, and then you can start telling us all about luminescent leaves.
Thanks, Stephanie. Who doesn't like the change of seasons? Fall colors, we're up in the mountains, so we're hiking in pine forest and spruce forest, but when we get up high, we see these beautiful splotches of color in the mountains. And the crunch of leaves as we hike is really fun, a couple times a day. So in the panel next, we have two, as Stephanie said, there's two separate colorways. We've got indigo colorway and we have sunset. So a lot of the colors cross over and work with each other. The panel is a 10-inch square, also works in 9-inch, but these leaves absolutely are luminescent. The shading between the values or between the colors just make them glow. And then we've added a little bit of attitude in the leaves with a little bit of geometric design in there that gives it just extra depth. The top and bottom of the panel are one of the new multis, and it's also available in a large piece. The co-collection is also enhanced with gold metallic. Next. So the panel is on a black background. So we also have leaves all over on black and leaves all over on white. So if you want to cut a 10-inch square and you want to use the panel for the black, you can cut a 10-inch square with the white background, and that works equally well. So every skew is done in every color, in both of the colorways. Next. This is spiral tonal, spiral paisleys. We've had paisleys in the past, but these are absolutely packed. They're very tight. There's lots of detail in it, lots of depth in it. It's not busy. It works in big blocks, borders, just pretty much anything you want to use the multi to tie the colors together. We're real excited about this. Next. The Geo multi, here it is, that is at the top and the bottom of the panel. Now you can cut, besides just using it in other ways in quilts, you can cut a strip out of out of 2 strips for each side of the panel of either colorway, and you'll have a panel framed because it matches what's at the top and the bottom. Next. And here's the tonals that it's in. So we've got a tonal, but a lot of depth in this, a lot of interest without being busy. It's not just flat color. Next. So echoes, this is what Stephanie alluded to. This is a new skew that we are really excited about. All of these colors, it's in very light, it's also in very dark. The movement in here is just beautiful. Without being busy, there's not enough value contrast that makes it busy, but it's got just a lot of movement, much more than a lot of tonals do. And it's also in black and white. Next. So here we have the example of the indigo colorway, the panel with all of its support fabrics. Next. And then this shows how beautifully the deep greens and golds and the lights as well that are in the leaves also work in the indigo colorway. Next. And sunset, we've got the panel with its support fabrics. Next. And then the purples, this shows how beautifully the purples, and of course black and white work with either one, but it's fun to add these colors in with the sunset colors. Next. So quilts, Afternoon Delight. This is one of our all-time most popular. This shows how well the panel works in a 9-inch square. We've got a deeper gold in the background on the sunset. Often I have light backgrounds, but this is really rich and I think really shows the fall coloring and the mood. And then you've got the echo in the light purple. All these patterns next are written for bed sizes as well as lap. So all the way up to king size. Lucky 7. So here's an example of you with two each, a 3 simple strip set, you get a table runner and 6 placemats. And these are done with all the coordinates. So no big prints in this. It's all the tonal values and then the multis to give it extra interest. Next. Come on, let's twist. Lisa Rubel designed this. Gives you such a great feel of circular movement in here. And we've used this as an example. We've used the white all over for the 9-inch squares in the indigo, and we've used the panel in the sunset. So both of them work beautifully, and the swirl paisley is a great border. And then you can tell, particularly in the lavender and the pink, lavender and the blue, how nice that echo design is. Next. Oh My Stars. Again, we've used the We fussy cut the white, the leaves on white in the indigo colorway, and we've got it in the panel on the sunset. And then that deep gold tonal geo for the background that just makes it absolutely rich. And again, these are for multiple sizes. So next. Stardom. Stardom has a pieced border. And so there's not very many quilts with pieced borders that begin for beginners to get started on. So this is a real easy one, so they get out of the habit of just slapping on borders at the end. So this shows how well this works in a 10-inch square with so when you use the 10-inch square out of the panel, then you get that frame around it that frames each block. Next. Ripples. So again, it's another pattern that uses just the coordinates. Great design element. It looks like it's Bargello, but it's just strip sets. So very easy for people who haven't tried this. It's a easy pattern to get hooked on using strip sets for designs. Next. Leave me alone. I'm quilting. So here's your free pattern. It uses the 10-inch, the blocks, 10-inch squares out of the panel, and then coordinates, and then that swirl paisley is the other printed fabric in it. Next. So we are website grizzlygulchgallery.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at search Grizzly Gulch Gallery. And then if you'll show the quilts behind me, this is Color Me Happy. This shows how beautifully the swirl works in a big print. I mean, in the big square, it doesn't have to be a big print, and the Geo Multi in the smaller square. And here's swirl paisley as a backing. And then we can get this down. This is the actual quilt for Stardom. Here's over the edge. All right, so close up of the piece border. And then we've got 4 squares cut from the panel. It shows how nicely that frame works, cut it from the panel. And then the all over leaves on white background. And then we've got this great echoes. So easy quilt, fun to put together, big pieces, but got great design element. So thanks.
Thanks, Anne. That was fantastic. I love seeing all of the projects that you created. So I do have to apologize. We are running a little over on time. I hope everyone will stick around. We're gonna finish out our session within the next 5 minutes or so. But I do want to, number one, put up our poll. At this point, we put up a poll, and if you are viewing live on Zoom, you have a chance to win a fabric prize if you answer our poll question. So while our poll question is up, we've had some questions come in from our viewers, and I'm going to go ahead and ask those to to our panelists, and we can get some answers from them while everyone's answering the poll. So Amanda, we have a question. I love your fabric and pattern designs. Where do your design ideas come from?
Gosh, I guess all over the place. I mean, the decorative arts definitely influenced me, but then also like if my working name, oftentimes my working name for a collection doesn't end up being the name for the collection. And so my working name for Vibrancy was Down Under because it was inspired by Australia too. So, you know, it can be from travel, but it can also be from like, you know, some design I see on a walkway, or, you know, architecture, or as I said, the decorative arts like furniture design, that type of thing.
Interesting. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, another question. Christa brought up the Fat Quarterly. When do we need to subscribe by to get the next Fat Quarterly magazine? The next Fat Quarterly magazine will be going out in mid-November. So you need to subscribe, I believe, by the first week of November in order to be included. But all of that information is on our website, which is benartex.com. And if you click on Fat Quarterly, you can find all of the information and subscribe there. Let's see. Are Pat's display quilt patterns all free patterns? No, they are not. The one that's called Banner Day is a free pattern. The other ones are purchase patterns, and you can find the links to all of those on our website. Will all these lines be available in Canada? I believe so. We'll just check with your quilt shop, and if your quilt shop has not ordered the fabrics, you can ask them to, and they can get a hold of our sales force and order the fabrics from us. Okay. Question, is Swanky Spirals, say that 3 times fast. Is Swanky Spirals available to consumers now? Christa, I believe you just recently put these up on your website.
Yes, yes. So all of my patterns are available as a PDF in my Etsy shop. You can just go to Etsy and you can search Christa Quilts. And then the print versions, while I do sell them, I do recommend that you get them from your local quilt shops. So the Swanky Spirals print version is, I'm waiting for it to come back to the printer now. But yes, you can order all of them now.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, someone mentioned that the luminescent leaves line looked almost African inspired. And I know Anne has recently gotten back from Africa. So I want to give her just a second to tell us about what she was doing there.
Well, Luminescent Leaves was already finished before I went to Africa. But we went to an organization called Ride for a Woman in Bwindi, Uganda. We found them 2 years ago when we were there to trek for gorillas, to watch gorillas. I had no idea I would be finding quilters. An organization used to rent bicycles. Now they weave baskets and sew. They had just started making quilts. So I worked with them a little bit. They rely on what they sell to tourists in order to support about 300 people and women in horrible situations in the 12 surrounding villages. I mean, yeah, you just can't imagine what these women go through. So it's important that they sell the items. So I taught them how to make the half square triangle and walkabout 2 years ago. This time we had 5 days with them, and between teaching them absolute basics, in 5 days, 8 women had made 9 quilts actually. So it was very exciting. If you go to my website, African Quilters, at the top bar, click on that. We've got lots of pictures. They use treadle sewing machines. They use charcoal irons. There's almost no electricity. There's no running water. It's amazing what they accomplish. So we're going to be adding new pictures from this last trip within the next couple of weeks. But there's a lot of information that tells their story there.
Thank you so much, Anne. Oh, here we go. We've got a few of the pictures.
Sewing machines. Yep. This is the quilt they finished after the second day I was there. She brought it to the lodge that night after a huge rainstorm because she knew I was leaving the next morning. So they'd never made a design. They'd only made quilts out of big squares and rectangles. They'd never made a triangle. They'd never figured out light and dark. They'd never done anything but put their beautiful fabrics together, but in great big pieces. So this was very exciting for all of us. The equipment was so bad. The sewing machine needles were dull. The first time we sewed anything, it gathered it. So when I got home, I gave Brewer Quilting and Sewing a list of supplies they desperately needed because the rulers were broken. They were just terrible situations. So they actually donated $1,000 worth of equipment retail that we got shipped there. That has made their quilting totally different, having these new supplies.
Thanks, Anne. And I see, I have one question for Kimberly. Are you going to be doing classes? Do you have any classes coming up soon?
Well, I'll be teaching all week at Quilt Festival. And then I've got some events that will be focused on Janome dealerships across the country. But I'll be posting an updated calendar probably around the beginning of December on my website at KimberlyEinmo.com.
Great. Thank you so much, Kimberly. And then I know there was a question here for Pat. Oh, so Annette says she missed Pat Sloan and she's so sad. Don't be sad. There's going to be a recording of this that you can watch. So you'll be able to see Pat. But she said she can't wait for the spring to do a quilt along. And do you have another fabric line in progress for fall of 2024?
Well, there's always something in progress, right?
Yes.
I did want to say I've been reading all the chat, but I am not able to post in the chat. So that's why I didn't write anything. I'm reading it all and wishing I could have written with you, but it wasn't allowing me.
So, okay. So I think that's all of the questions that we can get to today. But I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank you for being patient. We had a lot of information to get through, and I know we went over time, but I really appreciate everybody sticking around. And a few reminders. Be sure to check out our website, which is benartex.com. Say goodbye to Cheeto. Hi, Cheeto.
He's purring.
And if you saw something that you loved, be sure to stop into your local quilt shop, ask them to carry it. But while you're there, check out the Benartex fabric that they have in stock, because many shops have tons of Benartex fabric in stock, and a lot of these fabric lines won't be out until later this year or early next year. So at this time, I'm going to ask to find out what my designer's or my winner's name is, because we did a poll and I need to find my winner's name okay, found it, got it. Okay, Deborah Holmes, you are our winner. So congratulations, you win a free fabric prize from us here at Benartex. We'll send you an email to get your mailing address, but thank you so much for being here. And now I'd like to invite you all to come back in about 15 minutes. We'll start our next session where we'll have Nancy Halverson, Rob Appel, Andy Metz, Cherry Guidry, and Shelley Cavano with us. So thank you all for being here, and we will see you shortly for our next session. Thank you, designers.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.